Alright, I'm here with Blaze. Blaze, what do you have to tell us?
Hi, my name is Blaze Killian. Like Billy said, I'm from Brandon, South Dakota. In high school, I ran track and cross country. Um, some background information there. Graduated with a 3.7 there. Graduated with almost honors, not quite. Ran a state record-breaking 4x8 with my friends Billy, Bobby, and Ben. Went to college, or I'm still at college at University of Sioux Falls, studying theology and business double major, music minor as well. I'm getting married this summer, July 5th. Woot woot! And I'm very excited for that. And I will be moving out to camp I'll start my job out at camp at May 19th. I don't know for sure when I'll move in. It'll be before that at some point. Been involved here on campus a lot with campus ministries as a resident, and then as a resident assistant resident director. Been involved in Bible studies at track Bible studies, led worship there. So I've been involved in a lot of different areas. I've also led student activities across campus. This week's the Olympics, so we are having a great time with that. Last night was bobsledding down Swellerberg Hill, so that was a great time.
Now, you've been attending Swan Lake since 8th grade. How has God worked through you with your time at Swan Lake and used you?
Yeah. Well, I have to back up a little bit. So, throughout my life, early on, both my parents were alcoholics and drug addicts. So during the week, I would live with my mom, and on the weekends, I'd live with my dad. This continued on until I was 14 about. Some stories just kind of illustrate what that was like. My dad was living with my uncle in Sioux Falls. I think I was 6th grade, maybe 7th. And I was living with my mom out during the weeks in Brandon. So I went into my uncle's on the weekends, and that weekend in particular, I went to bed fairly early. I woke up the next morning, and this woman walked up the stairs as I was walking down the stairs. And I've never seen her in my life, never seen her again. So in my mind, either she was a one-night stand or a prostitute. And kind of realizing that in that moment, I just, like, everything that was shown to me about love was, you could sleep with a woman after you've gotten to know her a little bit. You just couldn't do it on the first night. So definitely challenging, and didn't really know how to deal with that. My mom, very unloving, definitely had terrible relationships with us. She wasn't physically abusive ever, but definitely emotionally abusive. I remember many times coming home after school, and she'd be on the same couch I left her at. She lived off the state and lived off child support from my dad and my brother Trey. Life with my mom was very difficult. I can't tell you how many times I've moved in my lifetime from apartment to apartment to apartment to friend's house. Seen my dad and my mom both high, both drunk many times. But we'll fast forward the story here a little bit. Eventually what happened was my mom got in a car accident. She had a parked semi. She's fine now, so don't worry there. And I moved with my dad a week later, and my dad started to get some papers for full custody to get me out of the brokenness of my mom's life, but he is still broken, and it was my 7th grade year when I moved in with my dad, and within a 3-month span, it went from having internet and cable and food and all the things I really wanted in life to having very little of all those. Internet went first, then cable, then the food, and eventually quality time with my dad. He lived literally right across the street from the bar, and he'd come home after work, maybe eat supper with me, ask me how my day was, and then go to the bar. And that was just life. Eventually, my dad prayed to God about, getting help and God's sense of humor. He sent the police. My dad got pulled over for the second time for DWI, went through AA, still in there, and he's been clean to this day. So praise the Lord for that. So that kind of sets me up for how I had to interact with my faith, and I kind of had a lot of resentment towards God at the time, and my dad was trying to convince me that whole next year about God, but I just really didn't believe and didn't want to believe. So a whole year goes by, and two of my best friends bring me out to camp for a winter retreat, Billy and Bobby Brockmuller. I don't remember much from that first winter retreat. I remember the friends I made and the love that was shown me, and at least being told from other friends I was quite the jerk at the time. Some of my good friends said that. It's funny, we still laugh about it today. And so now, a few months later, I asked Billy to go back for the summer, and kind of the same thing again. The week went by, I don't remember much about it, other than at Commitment Campfire, they asked, would you like to make a commitment to God, or, would you like to be nice to your brothers or sisters? They always ask it, of course they do. And I knew that night something needed to change. God was really working in my heart, and I remember I committed my life to Christ that night. I accepted Him, and the way I was accepted into the kingdom was down in the cabin. Billy was there, and Bobby was there, a bunch of other close friends still to this day were there, and we went around the room, each one of us, and we said our commitment out loud. And at this point in time, I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. I just have this new faith. It's a small little thing, and I was already having to share it. And went around the room, it came to me, and I said it, and the room was dead silent. And the counselor, John Bookout, he said group hug, and that was my acceptance in the kingdom, was this big group hug in the middle of the room. Now, that's where my faith started. It didn't grow a lot that first year, but the next year after I applied for counseling and didn't get it, I kind of realized that to make this faith real, you had to put effort into it. You had to go to Bible studies, go to church and learn about God. So I grew that whole next year in my faith, and then I went out to counsel at Swan Lake my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And each year I progressed in my faith, and each year I was challenged. Learned a lot in those first 3 years, but at the same time still had a very, let's say, closed view of the gospel, and I really viewed camp as a sanctuary, and it is a sanctuary, but it's also a place where we go from there and go to other places to create sanctuaries. You can't just keep sanctuary in camp. So I go into college, and the first year I staff out there, and it was an amazing experience. Some of my best friends were made there, and it's really shaped who I am through the past summers being there, being a camper. One summer, I eventually told everyone around the campfire about what my dad did to me and forgave him for that. So I learned a really hard lesson about forgiveness and what that means and how that plays out. Camp has shaped me in many ways. In a lot of ways, this is why camp exists, is for people like me. We don't necessarily just have camp for the Christians to grow. We have camp for the non-Christians, for people that, the way Billy got me to come, he said, "Hey, Billy's going to come to a fun camp?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I had no clue about the singing, I had no clue about the Bible studies, but in the end, I gained some amazing friends. God, you worked through that. Billy not telling me the whole truth, but at the same time telling me what needed me to get there. So that's why camp exists. It's not just for getting those Christians through that next year, but it's building the kingdom here on earth. So that's what camp's done to me, and I'm excited to be out at camp this summer and, years, hopefully. I'll be praying about it for sure. I hope God continues to use me here on campus. It's been an amazing journey here.
Wow, that is a great story, Blaze. Thanks for sharing. Now, you just recently got accepted as the program director at Swan Lake for this next summer. Mm-hmm. What are your goals for that new position?
For this summer, I really want to pour into the staff in particular. I I feel like the staff have an amazing opportunity because they get to pour into the counselors and the counselors get to pour into the kids. But really, we want to shape these college-age students into the people of God. And they're going to come from all different points in their walk. And I realize that, and we're going to have to work together as a team. And I know in turn they're going to challenge me. Like, I know I'm going to have hard conversations with some of them. I know I'm probably going to make them upset at some point, and I'm going to have to resolve conflicts with them. And I hope at the end of the summer that where we found them at the beginning when they came in, they have progressed further in their faith. That through being at Swan Lake, God can use me and Jerry and Judy and Mary and even the kids and the whole camp experience to really push staff into a deeper relationship with God. And that's like my big focus for the summer. I'd also want to pour into the kids as they're here. I want to plug into just different areas around camp. I also want to make sure that the counselors are being fed and that they are enjoying their time here. I think it's really easy to forget about the counselors, and they have truly the hardest job of being with campers 24 hours.
So you have a few months yet until you'll go out to Swan Lake. What things are you going to do now up till that point?
Well, in 2 days I'll be running my conference track meet on Friday and Saturday, so be praying for me. When you see this video, we'll be done, but that's beside the point. And the next few months I'm going to be doing a lot of track and a lot of running. I'll also be planning for my wedding this summer. I'm getting married to a wonderful fiance, Davy Johnson. She's a golfer, music education major. She accepted a job at Alcester Hudson and is going to be the vocal director there. She's really excited to be out at camp as well and plug in where she's needed. We don't know for sure what that'll look like, but we'll see how that plays out halfway through the summer because she'll move in with me after July 5th. Other things I've been up to lately, I started a book business with my friend Bobby Brockmiller. I've been working at the CAF, been involved in campus ministries, like I said here, been a resident assistant over in Sullivan, so lots going on. I gotta finish up some homework, gotta do some homework after this, so I'm pretty excited for that. And next 3 months, I really just want to pour into the people here on campus, because I realize my time is coming to a close, and it's weird to think about. It's really kind of bittersweet, and it's okay. Like, I realize that I have a lot of changes coming in my life, a lot of exciting things, and God's really worked in my heart through USF and through some of my close friends like Billy and Bobby. Yeah. Any other questions?
Nope. All right. Thank you, Blaze. That sounds good.